Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. The SEC, the clock rule changes. We're going to talk about that. The coaches have spoken out about it, several of them. We're going to discuss all that. And I'm a Vols fan. Normally I have a Vols shirt on, but all my clothes are in the wash, and this is what I got. So be it. I don't want to wait half an hour for it to get dry. And I'm sure I'll hear about it in the comment section. Yep, SEC football coaches, they've got mixed views about the new clock rules. Now, personally, I would have just left the rules alone. I think the game's awesome. You know, when it's going as good as it is, why mess with it? But it's okay. You know, they're trying to keep it within the 3-hour period of time, which is good for their TV and their cable and their commercials and all the things they want to do. You don't want to start late on the next game. So it'll help with that. But we're going to talk about what the coaches think about it and all the changes. It says, concern with games stretching to 4 hours. College football adopted changes during the offseason. The NCAA approved the changes in April. The clock will now run on first downs with the exception of the final 2 minutes of the first half and the final 2 minutes of the game. And that's basically NFL rules right there. So it's not going to be that huge a change, but it will make a difference. In addition, teams will no longer be able to ice kickers with the 2 consecutive timeouts. No longer untimed downs into the first and third quarter, etc. It says most SEC football coaches view the clock changes as non-impactful, but a few see it as possibly altering how they run offense. And Coach Billy Napier, he said you're going to get less at-bats, the efficiencies of what you play. I think everything gets magnified a little bit more in terms of quality execution. In our league, the margin of error is really small. I think it's much like the NFL. The game has shrunk just a little bit depending on who you play. The pace of the game, I think, yeah, it's going to be pretty significant. Kind of hard to argue with that. It's going to make a difference. It's probably going to put some pressure on some teams to pick up the pace of their offense. Now, that won't be an issue for Josh Heupel and the Vols or Lane Kiffin, but it might be an issue for some of the others. But you can always continue to play like you're playing now, and that'll just mean the other offenses get less plays. So, you know, everybody's playing by the same rules. It says studies have suggested the new rules will result in 3 to 7 fewer plays per game on offense. It says I'm sure fast-paced offenses coaches don't care for it very much. Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin said it doesn't take much to figure out that the hope is we have more plays. They wear down more, but I don't think it's going to be a major game changer. Josh Heupel says neither Tennessee coach Josh Heupel or Missouri coach Eli Drinkwitz, who like Kiffin runs up-tempo offenses, said everybody's still playing by the same amount of time clock. It's not changing from one side, so how much time that's actually going to bleed from the game, I don't know. It's a possession, maybe 2. Number of plays will be down for everybody across America. At the end of the day, you still have to score more points than the other teams, obviously. Drinkwitz said the clock is still going to stop the last 2 minutes, rolling the clock, the last play of the game. We're talking maybe 7 less plays a game. I don't think it's going to have an impact on even the people who are encouraging it think it will have. Now we get into player safety and viewership. It says other impacts of the rule changes include player safety and viewership. I would think, you know, yeah, if you're going to play less plays, it probably helps a little bit with player safety. Shorter games will result in better fits inside the 3.5-hour televised windows, that's for sure. And you'll probably get, you know, better viewership. It'll probably be a little higher because it will go faster. And Coach Kirby Smart said, I do think the game is getting a little long in an attempt to try to make it a little more efficient for the fans and for the viewer, which is a big part of what we're doing. Fewer plays during the game also mean fewer chances for injuries, as seasons could potentially stretch up to 17 games when the college football playoff expands to 12 teams. It could provide more protection for the players. You know, if you multiply it times 12 games or even more in the playoffs and all that, you know, it's basically one less game for the players to play because 7 times 12 is 84 plays. So, yeah, that's one less game right there. That's accurate. Says that can make our game healthier for the player, more entertaining. Napier said, I think ultimately, you know, we're trying to protect the game and create more revenue for the game. I think these things can be beneficial. You know, the more you think about it, that's pretty reasonable. I'm not terribly tore up about it. I would have left it alone because I think it's great, but I don't think it's going to be a huge change. It's, you know, if you watch the NFL, which I do, it's going to be just like that. I'm kind of surprised they've never done that in the past. I think it had to do with allowing the linesmen to be able to keep up with the first downs, which is not easy to do. Now they're going to have the clock running the whole time. I mean, now they're much faster at it, and plus they don't have those chains unless they need them. So I'm sure they can keep up like the NFL does. All right, folks, just thought I would cover that. The SEC clock rules changes, and that's across the board for the whole NCAA. It's just I cover the SEC, so that's what I was interested in the most, with what the coaches had to say. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and the SEC, of course, and all the other things that interest me and interest you, hopefully. And if you've not subscribed, it's right here on your right, my left. Just boops, all you got to do, hit that little button. Costs you nothing, helps me out. And right over here, YouTube thinks you will love this video based on your algorithm and your past history of viewing. I guess that's how the algorithm works. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, I hope you did like the content. We'll see you next time on Sports Dog J.